Welcome back to Nagash, channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar, and in this video we're going to be speculating what the Cities of Sigmar Battletome is going to be like. And I plan to do this by looking at everything and all the rules that we know for the cities that were in the Firestorm book, which I heavily believe those are going to be the cities which the Cities of Sigmar Battletome are going to be based upon. So I very much believe that the rules in those cities from Firestorm aren't going to be completely the same as how they turn out in the Cities of Sigmar book, but they will, I think, take essences from them, so they're a bit like a foundation we can look at. Certainly I believe that in the way of what, you know, armies can go within those cities, you know, like what, like Dispossessed, they can work with Wanderers and free people for like that city, and the other cities more about the elves, you know, all these sorts of different things you can do. And that is really the only sort of lead we have on this at the moment. That's what I personally believe. So that is what we're going to be looking at today. So we're going to be looking at the cities from the Firestorm. And just in case you guys aren't too aware of them, Firestorm was a campaign system which Age of Sigmar got about, I want to say about 2 years ago. And in that campaign system, you basically fought over a continent in the realm of fire, a certain region, it was a peninsula, and you could play up to 4 of your mates. And basically how it worked is that you each started in a corner in a map, a bit like Total War or something like that, and you all try and dominate territories. Like you would arrange to have a battle with your friend, your opponent in this territory. Whoever won it got that territory, got to put their flag on the map for that territory, if you see what I mean. Now, in that expansion, in that campaign system, also came quite a lot of new lore, and in my opinion some of the most interesting lore we had in Age of Sigmar up to that date, because it really started to look at the cities what had been built after the Age of Chaos, how Sigmar and the other gods of his pantheon really tried to rebuild the mortal realms, and for that in purpose, that word we just said there, for mortals, try to rebuild it for them. And I mean, like, I know like elves and dwarves are, you know, immortal because they don't age like humans. However, as we all know, in Age of Sigmar is a massively high fantasy, isn't it? It's not like a case of, you know, like an elf is, you know, like, oh, they're amazing because they're immortal. It's like, well, we now have demigod beings, which are like Stormcast. We have a crazy amount of demons running around the place. You know, it's so. What I'm trying to say is that, like, elves, dwarves, and you know, humans, they are now looked upon as being like sort of standard, sort of normal, you know, relatable, you know, beings in the mortal realms, because it's harder to relate to, you know, like a blood warrior who's about 3 times the size of a normal man, all these sorts of things. And that's what really brings it home. And I think for most people, for me anyway, what really connects me to the lore and Age of Sigmar is quite abstract, isn't it? Like, it's good, but and it's getting better, but it was really, really abstract. And these cities really helped to put things onto a map. And this was before the 2nd edition of Age of Sigmar, so we didn't have those maps to go by. So this brought something really new and interesting. And that's why I really liked it. And like I say, for me, I'm big about the lore and being able to have a place, basically see how do humans live in the realms. How do they physically manage to live on a daily basis in a whole world where, you know, you've literally, okay, so in Age of Sigmar, the threats to humanity, if you like to put it that way, we've got, you know, destruction, these monstrous creatures running around destroying everything, you know, very brief obviously there. We've got death, which is all controlled by essentially a god of undeath who wants to wipe out all living things on the planet and turn it all into a, well, all the mortal realms into effectively a whole system of basically the Walking Dead, and he's going to be in charge. That's one possible outcome. You know, another one as well, bar those two, is the fact that hell is actually a thing in Age of Sigmar. You know, there is a realm of chaos where there are not just like demons, but like 4 different types of demons, and beyond that, and then demons that are sort of in between. It's just horrendously evil. And that's another thing. And then like the last thing is like, oh yeah, order. Yeah, you all do sort of get along, but you don't really. Like, you could stab each other in the back at any moment. The only reason you guys are working together is because you want there to be something to live in. You don't want everything to be destroyed by destruction. You don't want everything to be dead from death. And you don't want everything to be burned down to the ground from chaos. So, if you want to survive, stick together. And that is what I really, really like about it. And that's another thing to talk about. It's like with the lore. Talk about how do these people live on a day-to-day basis, you know, like in this realm, like how do they survive? But also, they're living with people they don't really get along with, you know, like dwarves, elves and humans. You know, you might think, like Lord of the Rings, like Tolkien, like, very much like dwarf, elves, and humans. Think, oh, they have their disagreements, but they're all on the same side. Elves in this game, Daughters of Cain, they just love stabbing people, and that's what they do. A deacon go around stealing people's souls. Actually, not like all just bad people. They go to, villages, innocent townsmen, and steal their souls, who are meant to be their friends, technically. So that's what I really, really like, and I think you get a really good sense of drama in these Firestorm cities, and with that being the Cities of Sigmar, as I believe these are going to be based from. So obviously this is going to be speculating. I'm going to read through the rules each of these cities have, talk about what armies can be in each city, because I think that is something that is going to carry through, and be quite a nice little speculation of what could possibly come, because the Age of Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar book is a book I'm generally excited about, especially for an army that I don't really have, because I've always liked the idea of mixed order, but it's all just been a bit too mishmash, but doesn't work together. There's no synergy. I'm a person, I always say I like the lore and the look of the models and all that, but for me, I have to go for an army that has synergy in it. Otherwise, like, my brain doesn't like it. I don't know why, but it's like I can mix all these models together, but they don't work together well, and for me, that's one of the things. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what we've got in this book, and I will be getting the book when it comes out. Okay, so with all this talk aside, let's actually go into seeing what the rules for the cities are like. So, coming from the Firestorm book, because this is where the rules are from, and are used in a match play, because the cool thing about this is those cities, I think when they first came out, there's a case of people thinking, oh, are they just narrative based? You take them to tournaments? You can, unless it specifically says you can't, but most of them say you can. Because they're not overpowering, they can be nice, especially for armies that don't have allegiance abilities. Okay, so like I say, you can use these in match plays, and also the other cool thing is that in addition to the Order Grand Alliance abilities that give you when you take the Grand Alliance allegiance, you also get the allegiance abilities you'll get from these cities. The only catch though is that only certain factions, when I say factions I mean like armies as well, can be in each of these cities, which we're going to get to now. So the first city we're going to look at is Hammerhall. So restrictions is you can't include Seraphon. Sorry guys, the other thing to say about Seraphon, I'm pretty sure they don't. So it's a case of, if you play Seraphon, Games Workshop really just kicked you in the dick. However, the cool thing about Hammerhall is that anything but Seraphon goes in it, so any order unit. It's the most easiest city to take, no matter your collection, as long as it's not Seraphon. Okay, so, but with that in mind, it's going to be the city with probably the most generic ability. Nothing really cool and amazing, just generic. Okay, so what we've got is the Pride of Hammerhall. So add 1 to bravery to all units during the Battleshock phase, and add 2 instead if the opponent currently controls twice as many models than you. If they have 3 times the number of models, your units auto pass Battleshock tests. Okay, so generally, that is a really, really good strong ability. However, unless you've gone for a really elite army, it's not going to be amazing. I mean, generally though, just getting +1 to your bravery, just Stanley for everything. Awesome. Generally, it's not bad. It's cool. It might sound a bit boring, but it can really help you out. If you are going for elite, it can really help you out. Because let's say you've got a massive elite army. When I say massive, I mean big models in it. Their bravery's not very good. They lose the battle shock. You really don't want to lose one of those models. So that is there to help you out. And then if you've got 3 times, less amount of models of your enemy, if your opponent basically outnumbers you 3 times, what that means, you also pass a battle shock test. You might think, well, that's not going to happen. If your enemy takes a massive horde army and they have like 120 models and you have about, 30, happy days. Or later in the game, if you get unlucky and they've really hit you quite hard and you're really outnumbered, you might be passing your battle shock test automatically. So there we go, cool. So the cool thing about list building for this is that it's mostly open-ended and useful for units with low bravery or have high casualties. So yeah, basically that's the best way I can sum up for you guys. That's how it is. And also, what I'd say the best thing about Hammerhall is the most generic. You can just put what you want in it, bar Seraphon. And obviously, things that aren't order. Right, okay, so the next one we're going to look for is Anvil Guard. So, restrictions can only take Stormcast, Free People, Dispossessed, Devoted to Sigmar, Darkly Covenant, Scarab-Surge, Pirateers, and Order Serpentists. So, essentially, this is Stormcast, Empire, Dwarves, and Dark Elves. And not, if you're coming from like the old world and all that sort of thing, not like everything in those armies, but that's the bulk of what can go in here. So yeah, this is when we start seeing more restrictions. Obviously, like you think, oh, but I really want to have Wanderers in that. Yeah, it doesn't work. But if you really wanted to go for a theme and you want to go, oh, I quite like those models and I want to find a way to fit them into my Stormcast army and for it to, you know, feel right, here you go. Okay, so looking at the abilities, we've got the Impaling Charge. So during your hero phase, roll a dice to each enemy unit within 1 inch of your units. On a 5+, that unit must make a 6-inch non-run move, and if any non-monster models end this movement within 3 inches of your units, they are slain. So essentially what this is, basically you make the enemy scared, they run away, they can't run away because they're surrounded and they die. Now it says for each enemy, I presume it's enemy models. Okay, that's how I presume it is. And if it is, yeah, that's good. 5 up. Doesn't work for monsters, obviously. But yeah, that's not a bad ability there. Okay, and that's really like the only ability they have. But it's not a bad one. Remember though, you will also get the Order allegiance abilities with all of these. You just can't have faction specific ones, so you can't have like the Stormcast allegiance ability, and this would have to just be Order, and that's the same with Wanderers or Darkened Covens or Dispossessed. Any of those. Okay, so with list building, you know, in particular, so you can use Flagellants and Black Ark Corsairs or even Dwarf Warriors. And basically what you can do with them is, you know, like envelope your enemy, you know, just surround them, that sort of thing, so they can't escape and they basically just die. They have just surrender to their death. It's also good for cavalry units because it means that cavalry units don't have to retreat and then charge again the next turn. Because obviously most cavalry units get the benefit on the charge, and especially their lance and stuff. You can make the enemy basically retreat for you, so then you can hit them hard. And if they've moved away from you, they're not going to be that far away, so you'll be able to pretty much guarantee that charge. So yeah, quite cool. Some tactics in there. I'd say mainly good for cavalry. I'd say it really does help encourage that. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is Tempest Eye. So restrictions: can only take Stormcast 3 people, Cowden Lords, Swiftwalk agents, Eldritch Council, Dispossessed, and Ironwield Arsenal. So a bit more of a, how do we say it, industrial sort of theme to it, shall we say, and also more of a high elf theme. So we only have one ability again for it, so this is Alert and Forward. So during the first battle round, your units gain +2 to movement or +4 if they can fly, and add 1 to their save rolls. I like this one a lot because, especially in some battle plans like, shall we say, Battle for the Past, and in that battle plan it's a case of one objective in your backfield that isn't really worth much to you but is worth a ton to the enemy, 2 objectives in the middle are worth quite a bit, and then 1 objective in the enemy battlefield that's worth a ton to you. And what I quite like to do on this battle plan is I like to put something quite cheap, and basically I like to go first, put something quite cheap on the middle objective, so then the enemy has to send something a bit better to get rid of those units. Like for example, if I put 5 direwolves on a middle objective, the enemy's going to have to bring something that can kill those 5 direwolves, and they do that, my direwolves die, they take the middle objective, and then I take something bigger and nastier to smash out whatever unit they took the objective from me with. And you're basically just trading, aren't you, at that point? So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, when that comes back to this, if you're playing that battle plan, as an example, other battle plans are good as well for this, but as an example, if you play Battle for the Past, you've got the extra movement to get to those objectives, and you've got the +1 save to be able to hold it for that turn. I like it. Yeah, after the first turn, you don't even need to look at this ability anymore because it obviously doesn't work if you've already used it. But it's something that you're not going to forget because you use it turn 1. And getting +4 to your movement if you can fly, really good. Even just getting +2 Stanley, very good. So yeah, I do like that. And yeah, and also bear in mind, Cowden Overlords, you can get +4 inches to your airships. So I was thinking just Swiftwalk agents. So I was, thinking about the Eagles with the chariots, Sky Chariots, what they're called. And yeah, really quite nice, which is generally how I think they are best. So yeah, I like that. Bear in mind, like a lot of these abilities are not crazy strong or anything, but they're essentially free. If you want to take the Order Allegiance, take this as well, fit the restrictions, and you get an extra thing. And that is quite nice for only once per game, first battle round, but not bad. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is going to be Hallowheart. So restrictions: can only take Stormcast, Fire Slayers, 3 people, College Arcane, Dispossessed, Eldritch Council, Order, Draconis, and Phoenix Temple. So we've got again 1 ability, and this is a Magical Resilience. So your wizards add +1 to unbinding rolls, and once per battle, one of your units within 18 inches of a successfully cast spell can unbind it as if it was a wizard, but must subtract 1 from it. That's quite cool. Anti-magic, obviously, with that one, that's obviously the thing where they make it very clear. And the other cool thing is that as of Age of Sigmar 2, with more magic in the spells, the increased ability to the spell is more valuable, and that's something really is quite true. And like I say, that's why I think, guys, because I've always talked about how magic has got more powerful now. Age of Sigmar, it means more. That's why Khorne coming in with anti-magic was quite big, because most, I'm not saying like every army that wins tournaments, but every army that's in the top 10 of tournaments, a lot of them neutralise their the spells or just maximising their magic capability for their army. So yeah, that is a good one. I do like that. Okay, and then moving on to the Living City. This is my favourite one because it has the models I'd like to put in my favourite. Because my favourite order army is probably Wanderers and Sylvaneth. That's sort of basically Wood Elves, but obviously not Wood Elves anymore, but like Wanderers and Sylvaneth. So the Living City, its restrictions. So can only take Stormcast 3 people, Sylvaneth, Wanderers, Dispossessed. So that is actually quite a small amount compared to some of the others we looked at. Not really many to choose from, but it's really quite nicely themed. That's why I like it. So, and I also like its ability because it's hidden in the shadows. You can place a unit to the side and place them during your movement phase within 3 inches of a Sylvaneth Wildwood or Table Hedge for their movement. So, it gives you teleportation. Yeah, some armies at Stormcast have already got it. Wanderers can fucking around and move around the table as they so wish. Sylvaneth can do it. But I like the fact that you can just have a mixed army that can do it. And any unit in that army can do it. And bear in mind within 3 inches of a Sylvaneth Wildwood or board edge. So, yeah, 3 inches of the board edge is quite small. But Sylvaneth Wildwood, got a Tree Lord Ancient, you can bring them on. Stuff like that. Yeah, so I like it. And like I say, I like it the most. I don't know if it's the best one, if I'm honest. But I always do talk about how important movement is. But for me, theme-wise, it's my favourite. Okay, the next one's going to be Grey Water Fastness. So, the restrictions for this can only take Stormcast 3 people, Ironwood Arsenal, College Arcane, Dispossessed and Wanderers. So there's quite a bit there. Weird how it's Wanderers though, because the Grey Water Fastness, like lore-wise, is very like industrial fort city. Weird how the Wanderers are there, but not complaining, that's another army you can put in this allegiance. Okay, so what we've got is Punishment Bombardment. So roll a dice for each war machine, and during the start of your hero phase, you can fire a cannon when you roll a 6 for them. So when it says cannon, just artillery, like war machine. Obviously, if you roll a 6, it's very good. However, you have to roll 6. If you have 6 war machines, on average, one of them will be able to do it. However, let's say you've got 3. Some turns, most turns, you'll get none. And then sometimes 2, you might get 2 6s. And you go, away, this is really good. So it's not... I wouldn't take this allegiance, this sub-allegiance to be like this city, Grey Water Fastness, for, oh my god, that, that ability is very good, I want it. I'd take it as, I want to fit this theme. Also, on a 6, something might happen. I'd look like that, but then if you get it off, it's cool. But don't aim towards getting it off all the time, because it's not going to happen. And that is the last city from the Age of Sigmar Firestorm campaign expansion, which I heavily believe are going to be used as foundations for the Cities of Sigmar. The reason for Games Workshop, I find, can be quite lazy, and this very much looks like something they will take advantage of for rules that they've already written for, but they will just massively expand on them. So the rules of these cities at the moment, if you want to be super competitive, should you take them? No, not really. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not going to win you all the games, shall we say. But the cool thing about them is it's allegiance built within an allegiance. But if you're taking main Stormcast and you want to be super competitive, just take Stormcast allegiance. It's just better. But, it's not always that bad. You can still make a fairly competitive army, but some of the armies not. But then again, if you want to take a heavy, a Wanderer's army, you may find that actually taking the Order Grand Alliance, and then also taking the ability you get from the Living City, and then with the addition of extra units you can have in your army without, using your valuable, ally points. With that in mind, you can actually maybe work an interesting list out, a more sort of mixed order, quite left wing, not a stereotypical list for Wanderers. And I don't know what the stereotypical list for Wanderers is, because I don't think it's the most popular army in the world, but I do really like them. Anyway, so that's this. Apologies, guys, about like there's no artwork for the individual cities. It's because like every city, I think they only have like one artwork, and I couldn't find them all on Google Images without them being too blurry or without me. Basically, if I was to take a picture from the book, it would be, well, crap quality, so I didn't really want to do that. So you've got lots of mixed order pictures coming right up. So that's it for this video. So not too long, but not a short video. Just wanted to talk about my thoughts and what I feel like the Cities of Sigmar are going to be. And because of that, I'll probably call this video something along the lines of, you know, speculation or what I believe to be, you know, Age of Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar Battletome. That's what I think it will be, you know, what I expect it to be, essentially. And yeah, that's my thought, guys. If you guys have got any other thoughts on this, please let me know down below in the comments. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. Also, on that note, if you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. That massively helps me, and it's completely free to do so. If you'd like to support me a step further, I've now got a Patron account, which is a way for the channel to get some support towards helping me be able to make all these videos. It really helps towards time. Also, more physical things like me being able to buy things that help me with live videos, like that stand I got. Also, things like just the Battletome, so I can review the armies, and like getting like a camera or a better microphone. You know, be able to do some battle reports. All really helps. And on that note, I'd like to thank my 4 vampires on Patreon, and these people donate at least $5 a month to me, which are really nice. And this is going to be to Max and Martin, Carl and Simon. Thank you very much again, guys, for your continued support. It really does help for all those things I've just mentioned. And everyone else who watches this, and if you do enjoy the content, you do owe a thank you to these guys, because they really do. And also with that, I would also like to thank the people who donate like $1 to me a month, because that, like I say, anything like $1 really, really does help, and really does make a huge difference to what I can bring out to you guys for sure. I'm actually looking to try and invest a bit more of my own money into the channel to try and help things out, so it really is supportive when I see you guys helping as well. It really does make a difference. But if you can't support me on Patreon, that's absolutely fine. The main thing is I'm just really glad that you came and watched this video today. And remember, guys, until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.